Namaskar. Friends, today I'm again with you with an episode of Straight Drive Panorama. As I had said earlier, in Panorama, we aim to cover anything under the earth of human interest. Today, once again, we are going to talk about writing, but we are going to talk about writing on Lucknow. We have with us Professor Nadeem Hasnan, a teacher, researcher, and social activist, formerly a professor of social anthropology at the University of Lucknow, currently a senior fellow, Indian Council of Social Science Research. He is credited with elevating the name of Lucknow at international levels in anthropology, but he has elevated the name of the city more through his work, particularly the book we are going to talk about today, The Other Lucknow, which is a unique ethnographic portrait of the city. I'll bring this book on the screen now. This is the book we'll be talking about today. There are not many cities which evoke such great nostalgia among its inhabitants and others who have visited the city or have had something to do with the city as Lucknow. Uh, we have numerous books written on urban mainline Lucknow with reference to its history, the role of 1857 revolt or the first war of freedom, art, architecture and monuments, and the sophisticated culture, particularly the so-called Nawabi palace life and culture and intrigue. You have heard of books like Lucknow, the Historic City by Dr. W.H. Siddiqui, Architecture of Lucknow by Neeta Das, Glimpses of Deccan and Awadh by Dr. Hamid Afaq Qureshi, Lucknow, Memories of a City by Violet Graff. Well, these books bring a lot of Lucknow to you, but your experience of the city, of catching the essence of the city, of living this city would be incomplete unless you read this book. Because Professor Hasnan has broken from this mold and written about the social fabric and its marginalized sections of the society. He's talked about immigrants to Lucknow from various parts of the country and indeed the world, and so many other things. Its fairs, its festivals, its religiosity, its multicultural, multi-community ethos, which complete the present canvas of the city without breaking from the past. So I'll come to you, Professor Hasnan. I just scratched the surface of your book in my introduction. I have read it twice. And the beauty of the book is that you can read it from anywhere because it's compartmentalized also in chapters and with great insight into the city. So, my natural question, a lot has been written on Lucknow, perhaps one of the few cities in India which has so many books to boast of about it. But what was your drive and motivation for writing a book on this city?
Thanks, Sudhanshuji. In fact, when I look back and see my own work on Lucknow, I think that I was largely motivated and inspired by two things. And this book is related with these two aspects of my life, my academic life as well as my personal life. So that is why this book is very dear to me. Very briefly, I will talk about both these aspects so that I'm able to convey whatever I wish to communicate to you. We are not natives of Lucknow. I came to Lucknow along with my parents and my siblings way back in 1952 when I was just a kid. My father was a police officer, and when he retired, uh, then he decided to settle in Lucknow. And that is how I have been in Lucknow, and I have been living in Lucknow for the entire period of my life. And whatever I am today, whatever my personality is, whatever little I have achieved, and more importantly, if I say that, if I'm really so secular, it is Lucknow has played a very role in it. And that reminds me of the same experience written by Vinod Mehta, the late Vinod Mehta, in his much talked about book, The Lucknow Boy. He also wrote in that book that if he is so secular, it is largely because of Lucknow. So that was my personal recollection related with my personal life. So I have always felt very indebted, always experienced a sense of gratitude to this great city, which I really love. And perhaps that is why I have always thought of writing something on Lucknow. But one way or the other, my other academic works perhaps got a preferential treatment, largely because of my academic requirements, as well as the period of my leisure that I got in all these years in teaching in university and also living abroad. But then I decided that now enough is enough. Before I pass away from this world, I must write something on Lucknow to just repay a part of the gratitude which I owe to Lucknow.
Sir.
The academic reason was that whenever I look at whatever has been written in Lucknow, I found that, as you have very rightly summarized, that largely almost more than 90% of the published work on Lucknow is related with these three events which we have just mentioned. 1857, mutiny or our first war of independence, then the Nawabi culture, the palace culture, and largely the monuments, historical monuments, the Imambala and all these things. So I have always felt very agitated as to why all those people never cared to write. Now, one of the reasons perhaps was that if you write on the Nawabs and their exaggerated, luxurious life and their, perhaps these things, are very spicy and these things sell. That is why perhaps I've decided that there would be no Nawab, no Kebab, Sharab, Tawaif, Mujra, nothing. The people of Lucknow, how this the society in Lucknow, how the different castes and communities, how these have integrated into a very meaningful whole. That was perhaps the reason that I wrote this book. And moreover, I also thought that before Lucknow changes beyond recognition, because even today, if you look at Lucknow, you will find that in several parts of Lucknow, you will get a glimpse of the traditional old Lucknow, the beauty of Lucknow, even today, before it becomes victim of urbanization. One more reason perhaps is that now many people who are living in Lucknow do not feel any nostalgia about this city, mainly because of the reason that perhaps not more than 40% of the present population of Lucknow, they are not natives of Lucknow. Perhaps they're the first or second generation. So all these reasons were there. So and lastly, I also want to tell you that uh, this book should be taken as my protest,
Yeah.
against all those scholars who have been ignoring the very spirit of Lucknow society and culture. And they have been only emphasizing upon all those things which you have just mentioned. These were the reasons.
Sir. So you have very beautifully said that Lucknow inspired you and Lucknow made you. I must say that certain things of Lucknow which were present were brought to the fore by you. In a way, you also made a bit of Lucknow for us. Uh, in your book, you have, in the beginning, you have quoted this शेर, लुत्फ खास दिल को तेरी आरजू से है, अल्लाह जाने कितनी कशिश लखनऊ में है. तो ये जो शराब, नवाब, कबाब और मुजरा, इन सब से उठ के जो लखनऊ की कशिश आपने सबके सामने रखी, I think this is very creditable. But now, so you have drawn a picture of mohallas, mandis, markets, lanes. Especially, I like the ones about Nakhas because we used to visit Nakhas every Sunday when we were students. Garwar Jhala, among other lanes. Tabla, Kathak traditions, famous suburban areas apart from Lucknow like Kakori and Malihabad, or Lucknow ke Rangrez, Rafugar, Itr making, calligraphy. So many things you have covered, even Bollywood connection. But still, if I ask you, which are the two, three chapters or topics which are closest to your heart, which one would those be?
Although I really enjoy writing every bit of this book, but if you ask me, which are the areas which really fascinated me and which I really enjoyed writing most, perhaps one is uh, the composite culture of Lucknow, the shared culture of Lucknow.
Right.
Uh, and I mean, we should be so grateful to this shared culture and this tradition of communal harmony that even during the times of partition, when the entire North India was burning with violence and hatred, Lucknow remained calm and quiet. Lucknow, till date, has not witnessed any communal riot, any Hindu-Muslim riot.
Yeah.
Although, unfortunately, Lucknow has been a victim of the Shia-Sunni
Shia
violence.
Sunni rights. Yeah.
But fortunately, it has not happened uh, since 1970 or so.
Yes.
The worst was in 1969. So I really enjoyed. And when I look back on those chapters, I find that Nawab Wajid Ali Shah, who was a symbol of this composite culture. And let me very quickly narrate two episodes from his life. One was that uh, being a Shia, he was very devoutly observing Muharram, and in a particular year, Muharram, that is Ashura and Holi, fell on the same day. Now that was a big problem. What should he do? Because he was playing Holi with all his ministers and also used to come out of the palace and play with the common people also. So he decided that in the morning, he would go to the Karbala, Talkatora, with the barefooted in black dress. And after performing those morning rituals, then he came back, changed the dress, and then came out to play Holi with everybody. And the conservative Shia clerics, they were shocked. They said, I mean, how can a Shia, enjoy a particular festival on this particular day? Because this is perhaps the saddest day of a devotee religious Shia's life.
Yeah.
That was Nawab Wajid Ali Shah. And that's why when he was exiled, and it was rumored that he was being exiled to London. Then it is on recorded history that hundreds of Hindu women came out of the road, on the streets, with the lamentation that Ali Janab jate hain London, kripa karo Raghunandan. I mean, that is perhaps why Wajid Ali Shah was demonized by the British historian as well as the history written by the British and a number of other Indian historians were inspired by or motivated by the British history. That was one. The second is that I was really fascinated by the way even the subaltern section of the society carried the culture of Lucknow. And I have described in this book, in the Pheriwala, the vendors. Once in, perhaps it was 1969 or 70, it was just the beginning of summer. And when just passing by a road in Aliganj, I found a thela with lots of very small and crisp kheera. So I just stopped by and then asked him about the price. What was the rate? And he quoted a very exorbitant rate.
Right.
And I said, "Itna mahenga?" He replied, he looked at me and replied that, "Janab, Allah batiya hai." Oh, I was totally clean bowled. I really apologized to him. Purchased a lot of kheeras, a small one, Allah batiya, Allah. Look at the word that he used.
Right.
and paid him twice the cost that was quoted by him. That was also the area which of my book which I really like to write and enjoy writing.
So, Professor, of course, you talked about only 40% of today's population being, let's say, a native of Lucknow. So they are all mostly immigrants from nearby areas or even far. But still, we must talk a little bit about changing Lucknow. I mean, I know it is no good saying that one cannot stop progress or change, but crass, meaningless change is also not good. Such a change which tends to submerge whatever was good in the city. In your impression, how does a changing Lucknow in its appearance, its ethos, its sensitivities, I mean, how does it appear to you today? And do you look at it with hope?
Beside the changing demographic scene, which you have just described, I think that Lucknow is really changing and changing very rapidly. It is going to become a metro, a big city now. Perhaps in a few years it will be. But if you look at Lucknow, especially the Lucknow that has come up in the areas like Gomti Nagar, for instance, or some areas of Aliganj, for instance, you will find something very new. International cuisine that was never there. Thai, Mexican, Spanish, Chinese. I mean, Chinese was always there. Not only single cuisine, but multi-cuisine restaurants have now also appeared. Mushrooming growth of so-called beauty parlors, health clubs, gyms, amusement parks. A grass consumerism and consumer culture. Call girl business. All these things are new. I mean, these things were bound to happen in any city when it grows, especially in the Indian cities. We can find the same thing everywhere. But it was new to Lucknow, very new. But one thing that has really changed the very landscape of Lucknow is those parks dedicated to the Dalit icons and idols.
Right. Yes.
That has virtually changed the landscape of Lucknow.
Yes.
And now when somebody goes back after touring Lucknow, one does not carry only the memories of the Chota Imam Bada and Bada Imam Bada and Bauli and all these things, but rather these things also.
Right.
The memories of so a new Lucknow, a very new type of Lucknow has emerged. Urban villages. This is also a part of a very interesting thing which we sociologists or anthropologists have always been very fascinated with. What happens is that when a city grows and expands very rapidly, so what happens is that some part of the village, remains, while the fields, the remaining land, that is utilized for colonization, for buildings and everything. And you can find several such urban villages in Gomti Nagar, in Aliganj, in all these areas. Studying their culture is also very fascinating because these urban villages are being inhabited by the urban peasants.
Right. Right.
Who have become urbanized.
Right.
But one thing I really like most of these changes is that though Lucknow is becoming a big city now, but it still retains its leisurely pace of life,
Sir.
the laid back life, which I really love. So भागम भाग जो शहर की है, बड़े शहरों की जिसे कहा जाए, वो अभी नहीं है यहाँ पर. बहुत अच्छी बात है.
Fortunately.
Fortunately.
जी sir. So, Professor, I must recommend to all my viewers that they should read your book. So, is it available in most of the major book-stalls in the city?
Universal is the distributors in Lucknow, Universal Hazratganj.
Yes, sir.
While it is available on all the online bookstores.
Okay, Amazon and other stores maybe. Okay, very good.
So, if you have just a minute and a half or maybe 2 minutes.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Then I wish to recite the poem that defines this book.
Absolutely, sir. Welcome.
So this is from one of my very favorite poets, Hindi poet, Kunwar Narayan. This poem is dedicated to Lucknow, and I have dedicated this book to Kunwar Narayan.
जी. ये शुरू में ही है, ये किताब के आपके शुरू में जी.
किसी नौजवान के जवान तरीके पर त्योड़ियां चढ़ाए, एक टूटी आराम कुर्सी पर अध लेटे अध मरे बूढ़े सा खांसता हुआ लखनऊ.
वाह.
कॉफी हाउस, हजरतगंज, अमीनाबाद और चौक तक 4 तहजीबों में बटा हुआ लखनऊ. बिना बात पर बहसें करते हुए, एक दूसरे से ऊबे हुए, मगर एक दूसरे को सहते हुए, एक दूसरे से बचते हुए पर एक दूसरे से टकराते हुए, गम पीते हुए और गम खाते हुए, जिंदगी के लिए तरसते कुछ मरे नौजवानों वाला लखनऊ.
वाह.
नई शाम अवध, 10 सेकंड में समझने समझाने वाली किसी बात को करीब 2 घंटे की बहस के बाद समझाया. अपनी सर पर दौड़ती अक्ल को किसी बेअक्ल की समझ के छकड़े में जोत कर हजरतगंज की सड़क पर दौड़ा कर थकाया. ख्वाहिशों की जगह बहसों से काम चलाया और शाम अवध को शामत अवध की तरह बिताया। बाजार जहां जरूरतों का दम घुटता है, बाजार जहां भीड़ का एक युग चलता है, सड़कें जिन पर जगह नहीं, भागम भाग जिसकी वजह नहीं, महज एक बेरौनक आना जाना, यह है शहर का बिसात खाना। किसी मुर्दा शानो शौकत की कब्र सा, किसी बेवा के सब्र सा,
वाह,
जर्जर गुंबदों के ऊपर अवध की उदास शामों का शामियाना थामे,
जी,
किसी तवाइफ की गजल सा,
गजल सा,
हर आने वाला दिन किसी बीते हुए कल सा, कमान कबर नवाब के झुके हुए शरीफ आदाब सा लखनऊ, खंडरों में सिसकते किसी बेगम के शबाब सा लखनऊ,
वाह,
बारीक मलमल पर कड़ी हुई बारीकियों की तरह इस शहर की कमजोर नफासत, नवाबी जमाने की जवानी अदाओं में किसी मनचले को रिझाने के लिए कव्वालियां गाती हुई नजाकत,
वाह,
किसी मरीज की तरह नई जिंदगी के लिए तरसता, सरशार और मजाज का लखनऊ, किसी शौकीन और हाय किसी बेनयाज का लखनऊ, यही ये किबला हमारा और आपका लखनऊ।
बहुत अच्छे। ये आप सरशार की का नाम आया यहाँ पे, तो एक छोटी सी बात आपसे कह दूं कि मैंने देखा है सर, आपका थोड़ा मिजाज में भी आपकी थोड़ी आपके दिल के नजदीक है। तो लखनऊ के बारे में कुछ आप ये छोटी छोटी बातों में मजाक निकाल के अगर कभी कुछ लिखें तो बड़ा अच्छा रहेगा। लेकिन वो अंग्रेजी में नहीं, वो उर्दू या हिंदी में चलेगा, वो अंग्रेजी में नहीं। और वैसे मोर पावर टू योर एल्बो सर, मोर पावर टू योर म्यूज, मोर पावर टू योर राइटिंग्स। आई एम श्योर अभी आपने जो बातें की, शायद एक और किताब लखनऊ के ऊपर आपके आपसे हम लोगों को मिलने वाली है।
ये वैसे सुधांशु जी, ये किताब हिंदी में भी मौजूद है, दूसरा लखनऊ के नाम से।
हाँ, आपने बताया था, वो उसका तर्जुमा किसने किया है?
गलती हुई कि मैंने उसको नहीं लिखा बस, लेकिन फिर भी ठीक है।
वो आदतन साहब समाओ जहाँ पे कोई पॉसिबिलिटी नहीं हो तो वो बात अलग है, लेकिन अदरवाइज फिर तर्जुमा पढ़ने में उतना मजा नहीं आता। इसलिए मैंने, तो आपने मुझे ये किताब दी थी अंग्रेजी में, तो ये तो मेरे साथ रहती है बीच बीच में, मैं अक्सर इसको पढ़ता रहता हूँ।
उसी के बाद से मैंने ये तय किया कि अब मैं हिंदी में किसी किताब का तर्जुमा नहीं करवाऊंगा, मैं खुद लिखूंगा। मेरी हिंदी अच्छी खासी है।
जी जी, बहुत। और ये कुंवर नारायण साहब से क्या आपकी सोबत रही?
जी हाँ, जब तक वो लखनऊ में थे, अपने बाद के दिनों में तो फिर वो दिल्ली चले गए थे, वहीं रहते, वहीं उनका इंतकाल भी हुआ
जी।
लेकिन मुझे बड़ी खुशी है कि उनके आखिरी दिनों में ही ये किताब चूंकि आ गई थी
जी,
और उन्होंने इस किताब को देखा और मुझे फोन भी किया उन्होंने।
अच्छा।
और फोन करके मुझसे मेरा शुक्रिया अदा किया। मैंने कहा कि मुझे तो आप इतना शर्मिंदा कर रहे हैं, मैं तो जितना आपका शुक्रिया अदा करूं मेरे लिए कम है, बल्कि आपकी ये नज्म जो है, ये कविता, that in fact motivated me to write this book.
Thank you very much, sir, for joining us today and talking about this book. And as I said, we will meet again on this program. And viewers, I hope you like the program, and I'm sure you are going to get a copy of this book and keep it with you forever. We will meet again next Thursday on another episode of Straight Drive. Thank you very much. Namaskar.